Grace is a dangerous major hurricane nearing the coastline of Mexico, and Henri is almost a hurricane with hurricane warnings out for New England. Hello, I'm Mike Naso with this very late Friday, early Saturday morning update on the tropics. You can see we have our two systems. It is a very busy August 20th, almost August 21st by the time you see this. We have Hurricane Grace, which has absolutely exploded tonight into a very dangerous Category 3 hurricane, now a major hurricane. And we have Henri, which is almost a hurricane, moving to the north, and it is forecast to strike New England at or near hurricane intensity. Let's go to Grace first. This very powerful, dangerous hurricane was at 20.7 north, 96.3 west, winds of 120 miles per hour, was a tropical storm on Thursday, and here we are Friday night, a major hurricane. Those waters and that upper level environment got so hot and so favorable that Grace just exploded. Moving west at 10, this should bring it inland sometime in the overnight hours or very early Saturday morning as a major hurricane. We obviously have a hurricane warning from Puerto Veracruz to Cabo Rojo and a tropical storm warning further north. Hurricane winds are just about to start to go on shore as the hurricane makes landfall. Now here's the latest satellite imagery, the infrared. Look at that deep convection surrounding the eye. Still a little ragged, but strong enough to get a pressure down to 967 millibars. Remember when this thing couldn't get below 1,000 millibars, flooding Hispaniola and, the nation of Haiti? And look at where it's come now into the southern Gulf of Mexico, Bay of Campeche, as a Category 3 hurricane. What do we mean by Category 3? Well, on the Saffir-Simpson scale, we were down here earlier, a Category 1, some damage. Now we have a solid Category 3. That's getting close to the devastating damage. So a very disastrous major hurricane for the coastline of Mexico. And to say nothing of the flooding rain possible as the system moves on shore. Why did Grace strengthen so quickly? Well, number one, it had a very tight core. Number two, these waters. Look at this. These yellows and oranges, some of these water temperatures are 85, 86, maybe even 87 degrees. That kind of hot water, technically you need about 80 to get a hurricane. So when you're talking 87 degrees, that's bath water. Also, the upper level environment, look at these greens, very low wind shear over the top of it. You could see that even better on this map. Remember we were saying when it gets into these blues and blacks, very low wind shear? Grace took advantage of the hot water and the low wind shear and cranked up from a tropical storm, Category 1, Category 2, now a Category 3. I don't think it'll become a Category 4 hurricane, but that can't be ruled out as it's intensifying very quickly. You can certainly have gusts to Category 4 strength along the Mexican coast. The key messages with Hurricane Grace as of 10 p.m. Central Time. Number one, hurricane conditions, major hurricane conditions, and dangerous storm surge likely across the portions of the coast of eastern mainland Mexico beginning tonight and tomorrow morning. We have a hurricane warning, obviously. Number two, dangerous storm surge near and north of where the eye crosses the coast. Right along the coastline there, with a major hurricane, you could get very, very high storm surges. Number three, through the weekend, heavy rainfall are going to go right across most of Mexico, areas like Veracruz, Puebla, and the San Luis Patricio will have significant flash and urban flooding and the threat of mudslides. So not only are we dealing with the rainfall aspect and the flood threat like we were even when Grace was a tropical storm, add on to it a Category 3 major hurricane, wind and surge. Very, very nasty. Here's the latest on Grace for our Spanish-speaking audience. If you guys are able to read along there, that's the latest on Grace, a very dangerous major hurricane. Now we move further out, and we're going to talk about Henri sitting here, bursting off the coastline here of the Carolinas. Here's the latest as of 11 p.m. on Tropical Storm Henri. Almost a hurricane. It's at 32.3 north, 73.5 west. Winds of 70. It's moving north now at 9. It should move a little bit northeast and then north as that trough grabs it and then kind of bend back northwest, making landfall probably in the vicinity of Long Island. But anybody from New Jersey to Cape Cod, you can have a landfall with this. It's expected to do this Sunday morning at or near hurricane intensity. Category 1, so even if it's weakening a bit or just a minimal hurricane, a hurricane in New England means business. They're not accustomed to a Category 1 the way they are down in where Grace is hitting down there in Mexico. We do have a lot of watches and warnings. I'm going to go through them right now. A hurricane warning for the south shore of Long Island from Fire Island Inlet to Montauk Point, the north shore of Long Island from Port Jefferson Harbor to Montauk Point, and New Haven, Connecticut to west of Watch Hill, Rhode Island, all under a hurricane warning. We also have a hurricane watch from Watch Hill, Rhode Island to Sagamore Beach, Massachusetts, including Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, and Block Island. Tropical storm warning, Port Jefferson Harbor to west of New Haven, the south shore of Long Island from west of Fire Island Inlet to East Rockaway, Watch Hill, Rhode Island to Woods Hole, Massachusetts, including Block Island and Martha's Vineyard, coastal New York and New Jersey west of East Rockaway Inlet, all the way over to New York City. You guys are under tropical storm warnings. This is a very dangerous situation, and everybody needs to be preparing for a hurricane landfall in New York. Here's the satellite imagery, the infrared. You can see it has that thumb shape to it. It's bursting, and the wind shear is letting up, and we should see intensification into a hurricane overnight and throughout the day on Saturday, and then a stronger Category 1 as it accelerates towards the north and then northwest. You can see the wind shear here very low ahead of it, similar to Grace. It doesn't look like it'll obviously become a major hurricane the way Grace did. Nevertheless, these waters here stick out all the way up towards 38 north. So if it were to intensify up until 38 north, it doesn't have a whole lot of time to weaken, and it's going to push a lot of water, rainfall, and gusty winds right on up the coast. The ensemble models, you can see they all loop it around and slow it down. This is not going to be gone in one day. This is going to stop and rain like mad over New England. And so that's why we're watching it very carefully. You can see in the longer range, we have a system coming out of the Caribbean and another one here messing around near the Bahamas. So we're going to watch as the tropics continue to get active, but right now the focus is going to be on obviously our dangerous major hurricane Grace, but once Grace is out of here, it'll be exclusively on Henri. Here's the GFS ensembles, all bending it west. That's why if you're in New Jersey or even New York City, don't rule out a direct landfall, although right now Long Island seems a little bit more likely than Manhattan. Nevertheless, all these models show it's going to be hanging out over New England until it gets pushed out come Monday night, Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday. The storm surge is going to be a huge threat from Cape May to East Rockaway Inlet, 1 to 3 feet, 2 to 4 over Long Island, 3 to 5 here by Block Island Sound in this area, Long Island Sound 3 to 5, Narragansett Bay 3 to 5, Buzzards Bay. I mean, you're talking about, look, we got a lot of big cities in this area, okay? You got Atlantic City, you got New York City, you've got Providence, you've got Boston up here. You got Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket, all these coastal communities. This is a highly, highly populated area. And the last time a hurricane hit Long Island, I believe, was Bob in 1991, 30 years ago this week. It was a Category 2, I believe, came on up. It was a major hurricane offshore, but it was a powerful storm, caused a lot of problems. In fact, I remember hearing in recent years that it actually devastated the Kennebunkport home of President George Bush back in 1991. So it meant business, and this could be the most serious hurricane hit in at least 30 years for this area. Rainfall could be high, up to 6 to 10 inches, and this could go up dramatically as the system mills around. I mean, if it sits over Hartford and Albany and then finally moves out, it doesn't matter if it's not strong. That rain is going to rain like mad, and that's why we have a significant flood risk. Right now, moderate, anywhere from Long Island all the way up towards Rhode Island, Connecticut, into Massachusetts, and this may extend even further north into New Hampshire and Maine as time goes by. The key messages with Henri as of 11 p.m. tonight, early midnight-ish Saturday morning. Number 1, dangerous storm surge inundation is expected to begin late Saturday night or Sunday in portions of Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, southeastern Massachusetts, and we have a storm surge warning in effect for all those areas on the south shore of Long Island from Mastic Beach to Montauk Point, New York, and the north shore from Montauk Point to Flushing, and then from Flushing to Chatham, Massachusetts, including Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, and Block Island. Residents in these areas should follow any advice given by local officials. Number 2, hurricane conditions are expected to begin late tomorrow night, technically tonight, Saturday night or Sunday, in portions of Long Island and Connecticut where a hurricane warning is issued. Hurricane conditions are possible late Saturday or Sunday across portions of Rhode Island and southeastern Massachusetts. Number 3, heavy rainfall may cause considerable flash urban and small stream flooding and the potential for isolated moderate river flooding, Long Island, New England, all the way into Monday. And finally, swells from Henri will continue to affect much of the East Coast through the weekend. These swells could cause life-threatening surf and rip currents. Do not go in the water. Even if you're in Cape Hatteras, you don't want to get sucked out and killed by Tropical Storm Henri, and those rip currents can do it. The onset of the winds, most likely, Saturday night, Sunday morning. We're talking 24 hours from now, the tropical storm force winds are going to start. And so this is going to be it's going to happen quickly, but then it's going to take its time. You could see how it slows down here. Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Monday morning, Monday night, barely moving. And so we could have trees down, power outages, bad news all around. So I know that was a long update, but I wanted to get you guys filled in here as Saturday begins. It's going to be about the midnight hour if you see this, or early Saturday morning. It's all the same. Here is Henri bursting, very foreboding, forecast to be a hurricane and slam into areas of Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. We will continue to watch it here. And then down there in the southern Gulf of Mexico, we have a powerful major hurricane named Grace. We've tracked it across the Caribbean as a tropical storm, into the Yucatan as a Category 1, now a Category 3, a dangerous major hurricane about to make landfall in Mexico. All preparations down there need to be rushed to completion. That'll do it on our major hurricane Grace, and we will be back with frequent updates, especially on Henri.